I think they were really well done.
What can you see on your screen? You have to mute yourself.
I'm getting a lot of feedback. I think it's Dominic.
Harry's gonna mute himself.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Sorry.
That's better. I had one comment on the minutes because I thought they were great, and I actually read them.
And read.
I was not sure they were explicit in that the changes we requested for 289 North Street applied to that front historic building block, including the rear return of that, and not to the recent addition by Paint and Paint. So like if I missed that, great. And if I didn't, it might be worth
George, would you mind sending me where you want it? This way I can double check the minutes with.
Yeah, I think in the motion. Oh wait, I can't look at this. Yes, I can send that to you after the meeting. Sure.
Yeah, just email it to me. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Just for clarification. And I think
that's fine. I can do that.
That was the only thing.
In the minutes,
does it say that? Let's see. If you go to the bottom of this.
Something in the minutes, because I remember there's a comment from Phil talking about how it only goes to the 4 square portion of the house, but I think you're right, George. We need to clarify that in the motion, that was the intent. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think I think we go all the way down to the motion. Right. We just want to clarify that the changes we're requesting apply to the on the historic portion of the house.
That'd be the original 4 square.
Maybe that is clear enough. Okay. And then the comment goes to the windows, right?
Yeah, the windows were just the facade windows.
and in that same area.
Okay. So I think it's clear enough. Never mind.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
Are you good with that? Okay.
Yeah, and it's just in case, because the lawyers are gonna hash around with it.
I would add summation by Naylor, comma, seconded by King, and then basis for the decision is 1105.03 A and G and 1146.01 A and D, as in David. And I would do a similar thing to, is it 65 West Washington?
Okay, Steve, can I make one more comment related to that motion?
Yes.
After those code sections go in, we could just stay in regard to the historic American 4 square portion of the house and then go into 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you want that clarification?
That's fine.
Okay.
The code is only talking about the historical part in that part.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's fine. Yeah.
Gonna do the cardio version with the paddles.
This morning?
I don't know. I can call the hospital right now.
Sorry, my dad's in the ICU.
Well, take a moment if you need it, for Pete's sake.
Well, we're just hearing some new news, so I might, at some point I could duck out, and unfortunately.
Don't give it a thought. Don't give it a
Okay.
thought. 65 West Washington.
I'm sorry, so these corrections were on 65?
I'm going to 65 now. Those were 289.
Oh, those were 289. Okay, thank you.
For 65 West Washington, summation motion by King, seconded by Naylor, noting, and again, 1146.01 A and D, and 1105.01 A and G. Thank you.
Good.
I move to approve with those additions or corrections, I should say, corrections.
Motion by Steve, second by Wendy. Childs,
Yes.
Naylor,
Yes.
King.
Yes.
Thank you. The HSR for 540 North Street for the solar panels you guys saw last meeting. Do you guys want to comment on that and vote on that real quick?
Last thing on the agenda. Or in the packet, I mean.
Yeah. We didn't get that recently. We had that right after last meeting, I think.
I just sent you guys this HSR with this agenda, but this was on last meeting. That was forthcoming.
Solar panels.
I read it in a few days. Oh, the blue house.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is the one where I was trying to figure out what orientation the house had.
Right.
relative to these.
Yeah, we talked about it at length.
Yeah.
Dominic, can you mute?
Myself?
Yeah, I'm getting background. I don't know if anybody else is. It's hard to hear. Thank
Yeah, a
you.
little bit.
Yeah, I hear too.
Would you scroll to the meat and potatoes at the end, please? Oop.
Here it is.
Would not,
House
would
at
not.
540 North Street does not meet the standards of historically significant properties defined in the ordinance. It would not have effect on itself or any historical significant properties in the area. Move to receive the minutes, the report.
Second,
Motion by King, second by Naylor. Childs,
Yes.
Naylor,
yes.
King.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
On to the agenda, 55 Pheasant Run, new deck and sunroom.
Guess I'll start with the.
The first question I have is, does Pheasant Run have an HOA and have they approved it?
Yes and yes.
That's unfortunate.
Looking at the site plan for this area, I mean, it really not have a lot of information on this application because they just are showing like a portion of the building, but it's a group of, it's a condo, so it's a bigger, longer building. And I think the rear of this condo faces, it's like a little circle. So the backyards all face each other. So I do think this would be a visible structure from the neighbors in their backyards. That's what they're going to have to work out at. And I do not think it meets the standards, architectural standards of the properties and existing construction.
I agree.
May I make a comment here? My name's Ryan. I am the contractor for the homeowner. And I completely understand, obviously, if you have adjacent properties, they're kind of all the backyards look at each other. Completely understand. What we're building is pretty much a wall-to-wall glass enclosure. In terms of the characteristics and meeting the current architecture, it's not that we're going to be creating an eyesore. It's not, we're not making a circus tent, obviously, here. We do these glass enclosures for $1 million properties up on the lakefront to, in the burbs here. It's a glass-to-glass, wall-to-wall enclosure. There's really, in terms of architecture, we don't feel it changes the design of the house or represents anything that's taken away from any of the architecture or characteristics of the surrounding homes.
I think that's our judgment, not yours.
Okay. Well, I was just putting my opinion in. That's
Yeah.
all.
I don't care for it. I think at the very least, if they maybe did a gable low slope gable so that didn't
The
impact.
gable roof form, matching siding.
Right, matching windows. Windows are sliders. Everything looks like it's double hung windows.
Yeah,
So you're, okay, and with the siding and the gable, I mean, that's all doable, obviously. Now, in terms of siding, the only solid walls on these would be the super foam knee walls. And we could easily turn those to glass and just make it an all glass enclosure. The gable front would not have the foam wings. We could also do that in glass as well. And then at that point, you'd be talking about quite literally an entirely glazed enclosure. Now, the only thing is, you guys mentioned about the double hungs. So you guys we can't do any sliders. Unfortunately, our patio enclosure system does not include double hung windows. This isn't an addition. It's a seasonal patio room. It's different from an addition, a stick build where you got plumbing, where you got drywall, where you got siding, so on and so forth. This is meant to be something that is not part of the house. It's not it's not a permanent livable space. It's a seasonal patio enclosure.
It looks like it's not part of the house.
It's not an addition to the house, no.
Yes, it is.
Well, it is an addition to the house. This might not be a project that fits your, what'd you say, your system?
Double hung windows our enclosure system, it's a pre-engineered enclosure system. And we don't offer a double hung window in our enclosure system. This is
Okay.
And it's different from a stick build.
Okay, that's not a great concern of ours. If you're not able to do the project, I understand. Because would you go back to that?
So I'm kind of wondering, so are you guys superseding the HOA then? Because they approved the look and
Yes.
everything with it.
Yes,
So you guys would, okay.
Do you want me to go back to Steve?
You're saying basically there's really not an opportunity based on your system to do these revisions, correct? So you would either go with this proposed design or not at all? I'm trying to set up.
I would have to, honestly, I would have to talk to the homeowner or my customer. Because if they're forced to do a gable room, it's going to increase the cost of the project. I don't know if it's the HOA. So the HOA didn't require a gabled roof, but you that don't even live in that development are requiring a gable roof, is what you're saying. And you guys are determining what the homeowner can and cannot do, even though we have HOA approval. You're still denying them the ability to express their own.
we're here to protect the architecture of the entire village, and that's part of the village. The little local groups have neighbors, and they don't want to crap on neighbors and this and that. So we have to protect the architecture for the entire village.
Okay.
And I don't think this fits your system, and I would move to revise and resubmit.
Second.
Okay.
Yeah, Bill.
Give them direction on what
Okay.
they're looking.
Can you guys give full direction on the revised
Yeah,
and
as soon
resubmit?
as
Yeah,
you
what are you
call
guys
the
looking
roll.
for exactly?
All right.
That's-
Hold on.
I mean, you're
Call the
supposed to
roll,
tell
we'll
me.
put the comments in.
I'll call the roll for, and then I have comments. So that was motion by King, second by Naylor. Childs,
Yes.
King.
Yes.
Naylor,
Yes, with the comments including revision to include a gable roof form and to make the siding and proposed siding and windows match the existing siding and windows.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
3 Center Street, window changes, HSR on file.
Do we have anybody presenting for this?
Stephanie's on. Stephanie, if you want to unmute. I don't know if there's anybody else that you are presenting with, Stephanie. Just let me know. I don't notice anyone on the attendee. Maybe raise your hand, attendee, if you are on this project besides Stephanie.
I am presenting today. I'm not sure if Andrew from Pintuso Architecture, who's listening in case there are additional questions.
Stephanie, can you just state your name and your occupation for the record, please?
Absolutely. My name is Stephanie Osborne. I am, I guess, a homemaker. I live at 63 Center Street. And so our house here, it's a Cape Cod style house. It's built in 1963. And I'm here today to ask you to reconsider my previous request to replace the windows with a different style. We currently have multi-light top and bottom sash style windows, and we would like to change those to a multi-light top sash and a single light bottom sash. The modification, we believe, fits with the existing scale of the home and the style of the neighborhood. And so we would like to propose to install the Marvin Elevate new construction windows. And the installation of this quality energy efficient window will reduce our heating and cooling costs and be better on the environment. Other homes, including Century Homes directly neighboring our property and many more homes within 2 blocks of us, have the multi-light top sash and single light bottom sash style windows. And perhaps this charming Cape Cod from 1963 could better complement its neighbors. The 3 pages of pictures here that we've submitted, the first one shows our existing windows. And the second one is what we would like, the windows we would like to replace and what we would like to replace them with, the Marvin Elevate. And so 17 of those windows would be the new construction Marvin Elevate. And 10 of them are from an addition that was about 12 years ago. So we would just replace the bottom sash to match the Marvin Elevate, and the ones that are outlined in orange there, those are newer double paned windows. And then on page 3, so the last time we met, Mr. David Griffith's house was cited as a notable architecture gem of the village. And I absolutely agree with that. That house is 2 doors down and is in the first picture on the far left with the first arrow coming up from the bottom. And that certainly was an inspiration to me coming up with this idea, since they themselves have the multi-light top sash and single light bottom sash window.
We view each house separately, and they have different architecture and different needs. The one in front of is a cottage looking house, and it has cottage windows, which is sort of the vernacular for what you're talking about. So every house is different, and we judge them accordingly.
In this particular case, what's great is we do have in the HSR a historic image of your house, which is beautifully built. It blends so nicely into the village, quality materials. And I see where the windows were installed as true divided lights. I believe that's what I'm seeing, right? So even though, well, we would view this house as an important part of the historic district. If there had been an update to this National Register district to 1970 now too, 50 years and older, this house would likely be included. And what's wonderful about the house, we know what the original window configuration is. And so I would strongly encourage you to go with that window configuration. As Steve pointed out, what's interesting about the village is we have different age homes that are tucked in all next to each other. But we really have to look at the architecture of each individual home to make a determination of what is compatible with the character of that house. So just to reiterate, we know what the existing window configuration with this house is. And so that I would recommend going back to what was shown. You could do aluminum clad, you could do simulated divided windows. You don't have to do the true divided.
I agree. It's a Cape Cod, and Cape Cods definitely have the buttons in the top sash and bottom sash, and it's in the historic district, and it's a well-viewed house that well recognized, and I really feel it should have the buttons in the top and the bottom too. I agree with Wendy and Steve.
Okay, so just for architecture in general, I was wondering if they, does architecture evolve, or it's always in the moment and does not have some wiggle room? It's black and white, yes and no.
Well, we do each house individually, and eventually we give you our opinion, and that becomes black and white.
Okay, so there are no options on windows for this house. There is only one style that is
You can put
acceptable.
in very energy efficient windows that will fit the house and be very beautiful.
Yeah, and I think for this case, that's a Cape Cod, and that's for sure has the double hungs with the buttons in the top and bottom. I mean, I don't think that style can start transitioning and be a different style. I think you want to keep the purity, and that's what makes Chagrin Falls so great. You have these great historic houses that capture their time period, and that's why everyone loves to come here. It's the feel, and I don't think you really want to lose that, like a lot of the other communities have throughout Northeast Ohio.
I do appreciate the architecture and know that you help preserve that, I guess. Buying a house from 1963, it was modeled after a Cape Cod, right? I mean, it wasn't built in the 1800s or something.
Right, but it has the massing and the characteristics, the dormers. I mean, if you look any type of book that has styles and things, this book is pretty dead nuts on, would show you that this is Cape Cod, and it has all the characteristics and the features and the massing and the composition of what that house would be.
It is a beautifully done house for that particular era, 1963. And it is advised that you stick with that character. When you start to break from that, it starts to take away from the historic value of that house, and you are entering into that historic era. So yeah, I would stick with the multi-pane.
Okay, well, it was noted in the historical report, if I read it correctly, it's the first time I've been exposed to a historical report, that by adding the dormer in the middle of the front and the covering over the front door, that eliminated it from the National Historic Register.
No, absolutely not. That does not destroy the character of the house. It does not eliminate it from qualifying as a contributing resource.
Okay. Dominic, we have a previous, we had a ruling on this previously?
In August.
And it was, I'm sure it was no, but no, and therefore, or, in other words, do we reaffirm it, or do we do a new motion?
321.
It was actually back in March last year.
Yeah, there was one before I was here in March. Yeah, like she was saying.
Was the March one, were 1/1 proposed, or was it cottage style? Are we seeing the same thing again? I guess what I'm getting to, or
Right.
Wendy,
we've already done a motion. We've done a motion.
Wendy, I pulled up the minutes from the March 16th meeting, and it says in the summation, motion by King, second by Naylor, moving that this is a historically significant house. Approve the plans as presented with simulated divided light, aluminum clad or wood windows at the upper and lower sash to mimic the historic existing windows. And then the roll call was Childs, yes, Naylor, yes, King, yes.
So what was, oh, here, I'm pulling it up now. So what was being proposed at that time? Is this a revision from the
This is-
last?
They're doing window alterations back then.
Okay.
Well, I would,
Were they were they presented as 6/1 windows at that time? Or 8/1, divided top?
At that time, there was kind of two parts of the project. It was the overall windows in the house and then the interior renovations that affect the backside of the house. And
Right.
so the decision got broken into, and the renovation part was approved, and the changing the light from multi to single was not approved. And so just with the kind of the comment of Mr. Griffith's house, it just, I was like, wanted to be heard out again on these windows alone, which I
Yeah,
appreciate.
so
your-
Because
I've
you're
got the
pointing
March
out that,
minute.
well, you're pointing
go
out
ahead.
that I think these guys have been, clear, and I think it actually is helpful to me to understand is really the Cape Cod style that's dictating the divided light top and bottom. I think what you're proposing is pleasing, and it's understandable why you would like that. I mean, and there are many houses obviously built earlier than this house that have the 6/1, which is what you're proposing now. It's really more specific to the Cape Cod. I mean, maybe that's something that helps you as it helps me understand exactly where this is coming from.
That is helpful. Then it is a personally pleasing style, the 6/1, but it comes down to
Looks
the Cape
good.
Cod.
It looks good,
Okay.
right?
I'm looking at what was proposed in the March 16th submittal, and it looks very similar. So do we just refer to that motion that was already made?
I think we should make a new motion because
New
that one
motion?
was tied up in other things. It had other things.
Okay. Do we want to revise and resubmit, or do we want a determinative vote for appeal?
I think the revise and resubmit,
Okay.
unless she comes back with what we asked, we'll be having the same discussion again.
Yeah. Okay, so motion to approve plans as presented.
Yes. I second.
Motion by Naylor, second by Steve, or by King. Childs,
No,
Naylor,
No, with the comments to include that the house is historic within the West Side Historic District and recognized as a Cape Cod style house, which would have multi-pane windows, and that we have photographic evidence of the original multi-pane windows that were included in the HSR report.
And that references 1105.08 A and G, 1105.04 and 1146.01 A and D.
and King.
No.
Okay.
Or, I'm sorry. What was the motion was to approve it? No.
Motion failed.
Steve, can Steve just repeat the,
Yes.
the
1105.03 A and G, 1146.01 A and D, as in David.
okay, thank you.
Alrighty.
All right, so the motion has failed. Ms. Osborne, you have 10 days to motion an appeal with the BZA. And thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. 77 Maple Street. New steps to front porch HSR on file.
I don't know if we have someone presenting this. It sounds like.
Yeah, someone's
it
here.
looks like
We're just waiting on Katie to switch out Miss Osborne and,
Nope, he's in. Iris.
Yep.
Iris.
Here I am.
all right, Osborne's still in though.
What does the HSR conclude?
That HSR was from a previous submission for the porch. Do you remember what I said? Harry's gonna bring it up real quick.
Steve, if you recall that the previous submission was for the porch. The gentleman who was selling the house, remember, he made like 3 renditions of windows and stuff like that. And I think you denied them. So
Yeah,
this
the HSR has a really clear image of
strictly
the
for the
side of
front
the house
steps.
that
I
shows.
want to get rid of the
yeah,
wood steps
Yeah, excuse me.
and put in something different.
this is, so let's let the applicant, do we want to, I mean, is it okay to move to the applicants?
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
And there's a good image of the facade of the house with the steps, but I want to hear the applicant. So,
Yeah.
I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
yes.
Yes.
Okay. I can't see myself, but you know, we moved into the home a little over a year ago, and you know, the banister needs replacing. The wood steps are a bit narrow and very slick, and so our first preference would be to replace them with brick steps and I might be using the wrong term, limestone or sandstone treads. But we'll obviously do whatever the board recommends, either wood or brick. Our preference would be brick, and we would replace the brick also in front of the edge of the sidewalk to the front of the steps. And then from a safety perspective, we would like to increase the depth of the top landing, maybe to 18 or so inches.
Just, I want to say, I think that making those into either stone top brick steps or potentially brick top brick steps, I would consider that to be an improvement to the house. I do want to note that, and you haven't really gotten as far as just having drawings on how you do that. You know, those brick steps, they'll need a foundation. The top landing would be a minimum of 36 inches wide. So the steps you have there don't really conform because you've got the steps right on a door and they want a 36-inch wide landing. And I think that would be an improvement as well. And also you do need to show that you're either moving the existing handrail and keeping that, but you need a handrail because you have more than 2 risers together. So more than one tread. And
yeah, the handrail now is damaged and it will be replaced.
Replacing handrail. You should show a new handrail, but based on that, I mean, I think the steps that we're looking at are not historic. You know, they've been replaced, and making them into masonry steps would be a more long-lasting and more successful, I believe.
So when you said, George, the top landing 36 inches wide or deep?
Wide or deep. Projection from the house being at least 36 inches. So as you walk across it, that gives you a legal landing.
Okay.
It's 36 minimum.
The code requires where you have a door that opens out, which is what your screen door does.
No, it opens in.
It opens in.
Oh, it does. Okay.
Yeah, because if it opened out, it would be 36 inches beyond the door swing, right?
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the foundation of the home, and what is this some type of material, or is that wood here that we're seeing on the sides? Like, what makes up this porch?
That's wood.
That's a wooden porch.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the foundation of the house? The rest of the house?
The
We have a
Cantelli.
basement.
Cast stone or sandstone?
I think it's the Cantelli.
Yeah.
It's a concrete block. I think.
I think you're right.
It's a bungalow.
Like the cast stone, right? The early 20th century, the cast stone stuff.
Yeah,
Hey,
exactly.
Yeah.
so
Next year, we'll hopefully come back and talk to you about enhancing some of the framing on the front porch, but not changing any of the design. But first phase is let's replace the steps.
great.
Yeah,
I don't mind brick as a material, which will clearly be different than the cast stone, but not try and not come close and fail. In other words, I prefer it to say split face block, which sometimes people say, oh, that's as close as you can get now. And to me, that's not as pleasing as just a straightforward.
The driveway is brick.
yeah.
Mhm.
Oh.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I think brick is an excellent solution, brick and stone.
Okay.
So, I think we need to see a drawing though.
Right.
Yeah, I guess our first step was what will you all approve? And then we have meetings with some masons to give us estimates and more detailed drawings. And I assume then we come back for final approval.
Right. So we could give you preliminary comments or approval today. I don't know about approval if there's no drawing, but
You can do,
concept.
since he submitted as a final, I think he can revise and resubmit. And then he can bring in those plans and answer those questions and then approve in a final.
So you'd still only have to come back once. That seems fair.
Okay. All right.
I move to revise and resubmit, given the comments that we've made. Brick is fine. We'd like to see it and the measurements. I would say if you're going to do a beautiful thing here, the artificial brick-like material that's the sidewalk, that'd be nice if that was brick, especially if you have a brick driveway, because
that will be. We'll replace those octagonal shaped bricks with the same bricks that will be made up of the veneer on the stairs.
Yeah, good, great.
All right.
Perfect.
Thank you, everyone.
Hang on. I second the motion and just want to state for purposes of the motion to approve the square, more linear version that's being presented instead of the round.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, let me ask one more question. When we're looking at, and forgive me if I'm using the wrong material, the limestone or sandstone treads, there are some that are very squared off, very clean, and there are some that have a rough front edge. Is there a preference?
That's called rock face, and typically, I think the rock face looks a little more historic, or I don't know. That's typically where I would go. I don't know that there's a right and a wrong though.
Well, it might go more with the rusticated concrete block that's on the foundation because that has more of a texture. So it might be more appropriate.
Okay.
Limestone can be slick and brick is less slick, but harder to shovel. So it's,
Or sandstone.
We've all lived these materials, yes. Okay.
It's all kind of in the finish of the stone too. I mean, usually it's got good tooth on it, and therefore, it's not that smooth, and therefore it's okay.
Yeah.
Do we need to call the roll? Do we have a motion in a second, I believe?
We have
I believe
revise and resubmit.
it was motion by King, second by Naylor. Childs,
Yes.
Naylor,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
to revise and resubmit. And thank
Just for
you.
the record, could I get your name, sir?
Yep. My name is Ira Grossman.
And you are the homeowner?
I am the homeowner. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't want to just assume that. Thank you.
No, thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. 22 North Main Street.
I mean, I don't love that font and look. I assume it's
Very striking.
That's their logo.
but that's their logo. And it's again, I don't think, I mean, just because I like the way Heartwood looks way better than that, doesn't mean that they shouldn't have a sign in town, I guess. So
Maybe smaller.
could be.
Well,
Who's,
does the
who's,
digital
who's
print have-
representing?
Is anybody here?
My name's Gabriel. I'm representing. I'm the installer here. The approved drawings are right down there on my name for advanced installation service.
You represent the sign company?
Yeah, the installing company. Yes.
Gabriel, what's your last name for the record?
Bartlett, Gabriel Bartlett.
Yeah, could the 100 Douglas be a little bit shorter? It seems really bold and stands out quite a bit.
Maybe a little smaller.
Just as a thought, I don't know what else everyone else thinks. I don't have a problem with the sign either. And I realize that that's their logo, but it just seems pretty heavy.
My problem is not so much with the sign as the sign band. And I know that the building was sold. A client of mine owned it, and it was sold recently, and they're contemplating redoing or renovating the storefront. So my recommendation would be that when they go to do that part, they make the whole sign band smaller. And then I think the Hunter Douglas sign would actually seem more appropriate, even though it's pretty big.
How about the Hunter Douglas underneath the photograph? The black on white, I'm looking at the photograph, right underneath it is a Hunter Douglas with their insignia, and that would be less bold.
And a white background.
Yeah. Or
that's really the difference, is a white background.
Hollow letters, that instead of solid letters, hollow, whatever you call that font.
Are you just using the existing frame
Yeah,
and then just replacing the letters? Is that what's going on?
that's what they're doing.
Yeah, okay.
I
Because
had to
they're
go
like contemplating
and look.
they're contemplating a change to the facade.
That's what I was told.
Okay,
I was contacted by the contractor who works for the new owner.
And
So
when you're referring to the sign band, Phil, you're referring to the white
that's
surrounding,
everything, that whole,
the
it's
brown
built
surrounding.
out like 8 or 9 inches from the wall.
Right.
It's,
It is awfully heavy.
It's
that's
huge.
existing.
Yeah.
I agree.
And
And-
then the interior kind of pin line around the front, that's existing too,
Yes.
Right.
right? So you're
Yeah.
just, okay.
Yeah. So we're
So
stuck at the moment.
potentially a
Hope
white
that-
background or smaller. And then we could address the sign band when the renovation is proposed.
I don't know what they do in the meantime.
I don't think we can wait on a proposal that isn't actually.
No, I don't think,
proposed.
but what I'm saying is we could ask that the sign be on a white background or a little smaller. And then, if they do that on a big placard or whatever, if they come in later, we can't ask them to change the sign band now, I don't believe. So if they come in for a renovation later, then we can ask that sign band be scaled down and they could reinstall the sign on the new sign band.
Are they, Gabriel, are they installing this on a new background?
Meaning like the actual.
Are you just doing the letters and logo, or are you doing backer?
Or a backing board.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see your question now. Let me look over this here real quick.
It's just the way the Timon sign that's there now, the letters are scaled down considerably. It's like the large T, but then the Timon then custom window treatments, it's much smaller lettering. And this Hunter Douglas that's being proposed reads very much larger to me.
I
If we
agree.
could even just scale the letters down, just scale the whole thing down a bit, I think it'll look better.
Yeah.
You
well,
could leave the time and window treatments the same size
Right.
and maybe scale the Hunter Douglas. That whole part of the sign is 139 inches. And if it were, say, 100 inches,
Yeah, just bring it down.
right?
Alrighty.
We're talking about dropping the letter heights down from 14 to 12 or
Yeah.
Well, 11, yeah, 11
11.
maybe.
Yeah, just to see what it looks like.
Good.
Okay.
I move to revise and resubmit, given those comments.
Second?
Motion by King, second by Naylor. Childs,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Naylor.
Yes.
Motion to revise and resubmit.
Very good. See you in about 2 weeks.
Awesome.
50 East Summit, Clark. New rear addition and screen porch in the rear of the property.
why are we looking at this again?
This is the rear yard addition.
Yeah, this is a completely different project, Phil. I think the front. there's
Mr.
a
Gates
front-
had, Mr. Gates had walked in.
Oh, he did a walk-in.
He did a walk-in while he was submitting for his variance. Now that his variance has been officially submitted, and he took the comments from the board and he proposed a new drawing here on the rear. So, Mr. Gates, if you can unmute yourself.
Brian.
Can you hear us? No.
You might need to turn up your volume or turn on your microphone on your end, Richard.
You there, Richard?
I'm right here.
All right.
Oh, there you
Better
are.
now.
I don't see you.
We don't see you
We
either,
don't see you either.
but we hear you, so that's something.
I don't know where the button is to share screen. I don't know. Anyway,
Can you see my screen where I'm showing your drawings?
yeah.
Okay.
Richard, you can always unblock your camera.
Where do you?
Kind of in the lower left. If you do your cursor around, you might see something pop up that says video.
Start video.
Yep. Click it one time and make sure you don't have a cover on your web camera.
Built in.
There you go. You're here.
Hey,
This
success.
This is Richard Gates. I'm in my office at home. So when we walked this in the first time, there were some comments about my original sketch was worked from standing on the ground and trying to guess what's going on with the roofs. In the meantime, we've done an aerial view. We've field checked it, and so we revised the drawing to make it look like what you're looking at right now. So the upper level is a covered porch, and the lower level is a master bedroom and bathroom addition.
Sure. Oh, master bedroom and bathroom addition. Okay, so you've got a roof over that addition underneath your porch.
Correct.
I'm not sure I saw this last time, or at least it doesn't look. I can't remember the walk-in.
You weren't there, George.
Yeah, it was the
weren't
one
there.
right before Christmas.
Okay, so my comment is, looking at the existing rear of that building, I do think this addition is going to add a lot of dimension, which would be welcome. And the horizontal siding seems like a good solution. The hip roof actually seems like a pretty good solution to me. I guess I don't have I think there needs to be potentially final drawings that show the size of the wood feet and how that looks. Kind of
George,
a little more detail, but
George,
I guess
Because this is a preliminary, the final
Right.
details would be submitted in the final drawings.
I'm saying I'm encouraged by this as a preliminary submittal. I think this could work. And I'm curious what the rest of the board thinks about it.
What's the variance request for, Harry?
The rear yard setback,
5 feet
5 feet?
into it,
yeah, 5 feet.
leaving 35 feet.
Mm-hmm.
But what you're looking up at now is this huge blank thing. And this has a lot more going on.
Oh, it's much more appealing, much more appealing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I agree.
I move to preliminary approve this, looking forward to seeing the drawings.
Second,
Motion by King, second by Naylor. Childs,
Yes.
Naylor,
yes.
King,
Yes.
plans have been preliminary approved.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
Thank
Yates.
you.
We'll be back to see. We have to get this thing as zoning approved first, and then we'll be back with the final drawings.
Yep.
Very good.
Okay. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
313 Bell Street. The addition, the front porch and side porch addition.
Pretend I'm moving around to the front of the table.
Katie, can you remove Richard?
Yeah.
Hi, Richard.
Hi.
Now you have
Go
to
away,
figure out
Richard.
how to turn it off. Yeah.
Go away.
I don't know. You guys get rid of me. I don't know how to do it.
Pull the plug.
Put your little screen over, put a piece of tape over your camera.
And then don't talk.
Should say, Richard, if you can, it should say leave meeting somewhere by the bottom right corner of
Leave.
your
There we go.
video.
There he goes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so you saw this porch project, and it was very similar on a preliminary basis. This is back for the final submission, and although it has not changed much, we really did look at the comments closely, and I just wanted to assure you that we took the comments of the board seriously in terms of the porch and the porch posts. We like, if you added one more post and broke that in 3, there is something nice about it. But my concern was originally, and it remains, that, for a porch of this size, we're going to get a little forest, a little thicket of posts. And in reality, it will be less pleasing with too many new turn posts. So that's why we stuck with, the post, that configuration that you see. We the porch that projects from the side. I think the entry porch that we're partially enclosing into a mudroom. I'm excited about that. I think it's actually an improvement because of turning the steps to face the front, leaving the original roof and posts of that of the porch, and so I think it takes the historic fabric and makes it work a little better. Also makes the door a little more prominent, brings it forward. But the side open porch, it's 14'8" front back from the front of the house, so it's not projecting right there at the front. I think this element's really critical for these guys to be able to enjoy this wonderful side yard they have. So they have, I think we're 25 feet to another 50-foot lot, which they own. So we're 75 feet of open space there. And I think this nice open porch is going to give dimension to that. And the reason the porch is sized the way it is so that they can actually have a couch on that porch to view that big side yard and enjoy it. So we are trying to scale the side porch in a way that works best for the woods, and we think it looks nice. It's about a square, and running with its side facing gable, I think it's successful at that dimension. Those are really the elements: the open porch and the new mudroom enclosure of the existing porch, and moving the steps to face the front.
I like how you added, I like the little mudroom entry. I like the whole thing actually, because it really is, you know, in a time when we're seeing these tiny little houses with huge unmanageable porches, this is scaled well for the size of the house. I understand that we might not be sticking to the column spacing that works classically, but I agree with you that you don't want a forest of posts on a 14-foot square or whatever that is. Porch,
right.
You know, I just think I like it. I like the transition. I can take or leave the decoration on the gable end of the porch. I don't know as that adds a lot, but I love it on the front entry. I think that's pretty. That adds something to the front of the house. So those are my comments.
I agree with Phil. I think this is really well scaled. Thank you for that. I think it's a relatively modest porch with what could have been going on over here. I went up and took a walk up in there to just take a look, and there's a very flat plane on that elevation as well. So I think it does a nice job breaking that plane. I have a couple like minutia type comments where you're entering the single door from the steps, and you've got the rail. Whoops, no, you were in the right place, Dominic. No,
On the side.
Side,
Right.
yes, right there at the proposed side elevation, where you're entering, and then the rail continues without a post. And I defer to you as the architect, but what I'm thinking is, can you widen the steps and just have no rail, that little piece of rail that's to the left of that post? Because that looks funny to me to have that little railing sticking out there, just the way these houses were done. That doesn't kill the design to me. It's just something that I saw. The other thing is, I understand you're trying to do a single man door into the kitchen and then double doors into the piano room. On those sliding doors and on the single man door, is there any way to mimic the front door where you have glazing on the top and maybe wood panel on the bottom, even at the double doors, just to break it from having all that glass at the exterior? Have you thought about that?
I think we were looking at bringing light in.
Yeah.
I would say I think the single door could, I mean, that's a great comment. And I think the single door could benefit from that. And also, you know, the light coming into the kitchen is already up higher there. So a half light approach.
Or even a third. Like, what is the front door?
Right. Yeah. So I think that could be very nice. And I agree with that. I think the French doors, it might be nice to keep them glass. I think they're going to be kind of tucked under then the shadow of that porch. And we're trying to get as much light into that room since we're roofing out over the porch. I'd try and keep those.
Yeah, and the
light.
sliding and the glass doors, what my thinking is always, I really kind of am in the weeds. I recognize that I'm just trying to get some.
No, it's great.
is if you're coming up Bell in the evening and people are in the house, you're going to see that sliding glass door lit through the porch.
Well,
And then
French doors,
see
yeah.
or the French doors through the porch area, as well as that man door. And so you're breaking kind of the fenestration pattern that you've got going on the house. I do realize this is set back from the road. I'm just asking perhaps that you think about it.
We could study those, when we could also
Okay.
look, even if they were full light, maybe look at a mid rail or something in there that might break
Maybe
up.
break it up a little bit.
Mhm.
Okay, but I think this is really, they're going to enjoy the porch. It's nice.
I think that because it's set back and I understand
Okay.
the, I really like French doors that even though they're, maybe not something you would have ever seen in a house like this, but we are trying to bring this into the 21st century, and glass is important.
Steve, I think your hand was on the mic.
I'd like to show you this door. If you can see it, Corbin.
I was wondering what you were doing.
Yeah. And the other thing is,
That's a lovely
we're talking about it. That's an old door.
We can't hear you, Steve. Sorry.
I'm sorry. That's an old door, and it might look pretty cool in a house. What? Top half glass door,
Right.
with a arched top, and one consideration. I think the project is wonderful. It's going to be a super addition, and I may have to manage my shades more than I do. But any other comments?
That's it. I've moved to, is this preliminary or whatever?
Bill was saying something.
I was just going to say, I thought you did a real nice
sorry.
job, George. Massing proportion looks great. I think both Phil and Wendy's comments were excellent, and Steve's. I agree with Wendy about if it's possible, if you can move this stair out here, just to get, you got such a beautiful purity here, and just to keep the purity of that form and run that stair, it's just having this little piece here. And I do agree with Wendy, just to have, even if you just did a little panel down here, just, it's such a beautiful house. You got such a beautiful project, and just a little panels under these French doors really just send it off. And I think, I mean, I know Phil wasn't keen on this, but I could see you doing this just because you got these decorative posts and it kind of reflects the front and the front entry. So nice job, nice project.
Thank you.
I would like to
I
move.
like that. I like the idea of what, actually understand it better now, what you were referring to, Wendy, on the steps. So
Good. I'd like to move to approve as presented with the latitude to solve the issues that we just discussed with the owner and the architect.
This is a final approval?
Yes.
Okay, second?
Motion by King, second by Naylor. Childs,
Yes.
Naylor,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
motion approved. All right. We need to address for any walk-ins. If you want to raise your hand using the raise your hand feature underneath your screen.
Yep, I've got one. I'm gonna send them in now.
Okay.
Tom K, I'm asking you to unmute.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So the reason I'm here is because I live in a house that aged past 50 years very recently. In 2015, I had all the windows in my house.
Tom,
Oh, yeah.
can you just state your full name and your address first?
Sure. My full name is Tom Kincaid. My address is 185 North Main Street. And do you need the rest of it? Chagrin Falls, Ohio.
No. Just...
Okay.
I'm sorry, did you say North or South Main?
North Main.
North Main, thank you.
Go ahead and continue. The windows have been recently replaced?
Okay, yes, this is back in 2015. All but 4 of the windows in the house had been replaced. And so since then and now, the house is aged past 50 years. And 3 of the windows that I want to get replaced are one of those configurations where it's a big picture window with 2 very small double hung windows on each side. And when I got the window company that did the windows, all the other windows in the house, back out here to look at that one, I was informed that the dimensions of the windows are going to have to change because the double hung windows are too small for them to manufacture it the way that it is right now. Plus, the material around the windows would have to be thicker than what's there right now too. So the effect is, if I go, if I have them do it, keep it the way that it is, it's going to change the dimensions of the window, and I would like to keep it as close to what's there right now as possible. And the reason I'm here is because I have been told twice by these guys that because the age is 50 years old now, and it's considered a historical house, that the windows have to be like for like. And again, the problem is, if I keep it like for like, the dimensions are going to change on the windows. And I was looking to do an alternative. So when I said to them, I told them to do a gliding window. That's what I would like to have. They immediately shot it down and said, it has to be like for like because of the age of the house. And I want to put that in front of you to see what you guys have to say. So that I can, if this is going to be on your part shut down, because if it's not, I like to present it to them so I don't have to hear this, that it has to be like from like.
Can we ask what window manufacturer and what type of window you're proposing?
Okay, so
Meaning wood or aluminum clad or,
Okay, well, the windows before they were replaced, they were wood with aluminum cladding. And after when they were replaced with, I believe it's vinyl.
And the manufacturer that you're talking to, what type of window are they proposing? Vinyl, wood, aluminum clad?
I think they only do vinyl.
Oh.
It's Windows by Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So is it wood inside then and their exterior is vinyl?
The actual windows themselves are vinyl, and I think if you're talking about the frame on the inside of the house, yes, it's going to be wood.
It's wood. Okay. So those are thinner windows than a total vinyl window, because the wood gives it the structure. They don't have to do
Okay, if we're
thick
talking
vinyl.
about if we're talking about the actual window itself, it's going to be completely vinyl. If we're talking about like the frame that goes around that on the inside of the house.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Because if you're trying to preserve light, using vinyl windows isn't the way to go, because their frames are typically fatter because vinyl's weak.
Right.
Like an Anderson 200 series replacement window or 400 series replacement window would be a thinner profile for you, and they might have more capabilities with that.
Okay.
But you're talking about, we don't know are you on the back side of your house, the front side? Where are you at?
The window
Side.
that I want replaced is on the back side of the house.
Back side of the house.
Yeah. Or at least the one in question that I'm bringing to your attention.
So your house is not necessarily historic. it needs to be considered whether it would be historic, since it's now more than 50 years old. So you'd have to go through a process which costs $330 as an alteration process to get a report saying whether it's historic or not. So you've got that, there is that hurdle, but it's likely that it would not be considered historic, I guess. I mean, I would venture to guess, although we're not the historic experts, or that we're not the ones who do this process. That wouldn't preclude changing the windows. We're not big fans of gliding windows or vinyl windows in general. Maybe you could put a pair of double hungs in there. It looks like the windows in the front of your house look like more like double hung windows. You could potentially even put one big picture window if you don't need operation in that window and don't need air coming, ventilation from that spot. So I wouldn't say you're going to have to do like with like on the back of your house, and I doubt your house is historic. I mean, I think those might be misconceptions of the window company, but there is a process to go through, and you need to show us what you're proposing if you're doing a window change and not just a replacement.
Okay. Because I am considering doing a window change, because like I said, if I go with this windows company, and I keep it like for like they keep telling me, it is going to change the look of that window and that part of the house. So that's why I am looking for an alternative, and the best alternative to keep things looking like for like would be a gliding window. So that's what I'm putting in front of you guys. And like I said, the issue is the window company, this has happened twice now. They come back to me and I don't know who they're talking to, but they tell me that it has to be like for like, and I'm trying to find out if that's the case or not.
Yeah, not necessarily.
Okay.
Well,
the
wait, George.
Report will give us a lot of guidance,
Right.
because we'll get an image of the house, and what the configuration was. And that's kind of where our starting point is, because each house is really a case by case, and then you come in and show us what is being proposed and show us what these manufacturers are saying. And, and then we can go from there.
Okay. But it does look like a house where double hung windows may be more appropriate than sliding windows. And just to let you know, sliding windows are not really favored by this board, in my experience.
Well, you're looking at the normal windows in the house. Those are all double hung. The one in question is, like I said, it's one of those weird kind of things where it's 3 windows side by side with the big picture frame window in the center, and then on the sides, the 2 really tiny double hung windows. So
making those a little wider, or making it 3 double hungs, are certainly all easy options. And then doing one big picture, or if you're going to really propose gliding windows, we're not big fans of, or maybe they look like double, we just have to consider the case, and we're not even seeing the back of your house yet. So I wouldn't be completely discouraged from coming in with some different configuration for that window.
Okay.
And I wouldn't be wed to the one window company, because if they can't do it, somebody else might be able to offer you something that you like.
Okay. Well, I was trying to keep the windows all the same manufacturer. I don't want to get something else that looks different and by design.
Right.
Okay. So like I said, at this point, it's just trying to find out whether or not I'm forced to remain like for like in the future. I'll submit. I'll have them submit the changes that I want to make done.
Great.
So
Alrighty.
okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Other walk-ins?
Any other?
I've been waiting to say this, but I think we should go into executive session with the lawn tractor.
Yeah.
I want to know what the lawn track. Yeah. Okay.
No other walk-ins?
Last chance, raise your hand for walk-in.
That's okay.
That's it.
All right. We will adjourn into executive session with the law director.
Okay.
Make sure,
We're gonna come back, tell them we're gonna.
yeah,
come back.
And then
this meeting's gonna
we'll-
stay open. Everybody, board members leave, join Dale's link, and then come back to this so you can adjourn this meeting.
So we go to our email and click there and leave this as it is.
Nope, you want to
Correct.
leave this meeting,
I do
So
want
Join
to.
then go
Dale's.
to that and then we'll
Okay.
come back.
Very
Okay.
good.
rejoin.
All right. Goodbye. See you in a minute.
Harry, you're gonna want to leave this meeting.
Did I do that correctly? I'm in the right meeting.
No, you need to go to Dale's meeting. I don't know,
Okay, I'll do that. Wait.
Harry, same thing.
I'll leave this again. Okay. So I'll go to Dale's email.
Correct. This is Katie. How can I help you? $7,600. Is it in the front yard or where is it? No, that's actually our line, not our, and you're at the National Guard building? I will have somebody come over and look to see if that's what's going on. Yeah, I don't know, because it just depends on where your connection with us is and if it's before that or after that. Okay, all right. What was your name? And your phone number, Jeff? Okay. And you are there now? Okay, perfect. All right, sure. All right, bye. Hey, sir, the National Guard Armory says that they have a water main break. I don't know if it's us or them, but he said they've got water coming out. And yeah. And I can't, okay, thank you. All right, bye.
Bill, you were really quick.
Oh, thanks. I just had it on the other
Oh,
side.
you just left it up.
Yeah. Boy, that's quite a bit of snow we got, huh? That was incredible.
Oh my gosh, yes. And then it's done. That's the stuff funny, like, what was it, 14, 16 inches, and then it's done.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
It seems like we never left.
Yes, it just seems like home. I guess we're just going to call this meeting adjourned. Is there anything else anybody needs to say? No. So let it be said, so let it be done. See you in a few
Second.
weeks. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.